welcome to the Stylecraft tutorials for the Ross Blanket Crochet Along. This is part 2 and we're going to be working on the outer square number 3. And this is what it looks like. There's 13 rounds and you use every colour apart from the white. So let's start by grabbing our copper yarn and we're going to make a magic circle. So to start the magic circle, we'll take the tail end of the yarn and place it down the palm of your hand. Grab the yarn and take the working yarn from left to right around your thumb and bring over here to make this cross shape. Now we're going to take the hook and go up under that tail end of the yarn. Grab the yarn from here and pull to the front to make that little loop on your hook. And then from the same place, grab the yarn and pull through that loop. So that secures it, so I can take my thumb out now. Holding the magic circle to the bottom, we can now chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to work 11 trebles into the magic ring. So yarn over into the magic ring, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's your first treble. So let's see how many we've got there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you've got 11 trebles and your 3 chain that you started off with. So now we can pull that tail to close up this circle. Pull it nice and tight. There we go. And now we're going to join with an invisible join. So we'll cut the yarn. Pull the yarn through using the hook. Now we're going to insert the hook into that first treble that we did. So ignoring the 3 chain, going to the top of that first treble. Just go through the stitch as you normally would go through a stitch. Grab the yarn and pull it through to the front. And then that very last treble that you did, we're going from back to front, just picking up that back loop. Grabbing the yarn and pulling it through to the back. So that is your invisible join. There we go. So now we're going to grab our cream yarn for round 2. So now we're going to join our cream yarn to any stitch using a standing treble. So hold the yarn in place like this and wrap around about 3 times. So pop your hook into any stitch, keeping the yarn to the back. Grab the yarn and pull through. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Keeping this yarn secure here. Now we're going to work a front post treble around the next stitch. So this is the stitch that we've just worked into here. So we don't want to be going around this post, we want to be going around this one. So yarn over, in between those posts, around the back, picking that post up. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. So now we can let go of this because it's nice and safe. Now we're going to chain 2. And we're going to work another front post treble around the post that we've just worked. And now we're going to put a treble into the next stitch, which kind of hides a bit behind your front post treble that you've just done. So just pull it apart a bit, and this is where we're wanting to work into this stitch here. just a normal treble into there, and another treble into the next stitch. There we go. So that's what we're doing all the way around. We're making this V stitch and then 2 trebles. Okay, so the V stitch again, yarn over into the next stitch, which is here. We've worked into that one and that one, so we want to go into here, in between those posts, around the back. Chain 2 and another front post treble around that stitch. And now your 2 normal trebles into the next 2 stitches. 1, 2, and now your V stitch. So not into that one because we've worked into that, into the next one. Chain 2. And another front post treble around that stitch that you've already worked to make your V. 2 trebles into the next 2 trebles, yarn over, and a treble into the next one. And now a V around your next, so not this one, working into this one, front post treble around there, chain 2 and a front post treble around the same stitch, and then we're finishing off this round just with 1 treble because we already started off with 1 here. So to make a pair, just 1 treble into the next stitch. So that completes that round. We're just going to finish it with an invisible join. So cut the yarn, pull the yarn up with a hook, insert your hook not into this standing treble but into the next stitch like so. Grab the yarn and pull it through to the front. Then that very last treble that you've done, insert the hook from front to back, picking up that back loop, grabbing the yarn and pulling it through to the back to make your invisible join. There we go. So now we should have 4 lots of the 2 chain spaces, 1, 2, 3 and 4. We should have 4 lots of the V stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 lots of the 2 normal trebles, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if yours is looking like this, we're on track and we can move on to round 3 with the denim yarn. So now we are going to start to any 2 chain space with a half treble standing stitch. So grab the yarn and wrap round about 3 times. Insert the hook into any 2 chain space, keeping the yarn to the back. Grab the yarn and pull through. Yarn over, pull through 3. So you just need to help that one over a little bit. There we go. So that's your half treble standing stitch. So now we're going to put a treble into this corner. A treble. I can let go of this. Now we are going to chain 1, work another treble into that corner, and then work a half treble. Okay, so you've got half treble, treble, chain 1, treble, half treble, and that is what you're going to be working into each corner. And now we're going to work 1 DC into each of the next treble, so that should be 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see It's making this nice flat edge and this little corner here. So now we're going to work the same into here as what we did into here. 1 half treble, 1 treble, chain 1, 1 treble, and 1 half treble. So that's what your edge should look like. So we're going to repeat that along this edge, working the same into the corner. So 4 DC into each of the treble, your corner as you've done here, 4 DC into each treble along here and the corner, and 4 DC to here. So I'll see you when you get to that point. So now we've got to the end of round 3. I've just popped some stitch markers in so that we can check that we've got the right amount of stitches. I've just placed the stitch markers in the chain 1 space. So in between each chain 1 space we should have a treble, a half treble, 4 DC, 1, 2, 3, 4, another half treble and another treble. So that's 8 stitches that we should have in between each one chain space. So if you check that you've got 8 along each corner, along each edge, then we should be on track. So now we can finish off round 3 with an invisible join. Insert your hook not into the standing half treble, but into that treble, that first stitch there. Yarn over, bring the yarn to the front, and then inserting your hook from back to front into that last DC that you did, just picking up the back loop of that stitch, grabbing the yarn and bringing it to the back. So that's your invisible join there. So now that is round 3 completed, we can move on to round 4 and grab the dark brown yarn. So now we're going to join our dark brown yarn to any second DC on any edge. So each edge should have 4 DCs. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not working into that first one but the second one, and we're going to join with a standing treble. Pinch the yarn like so and wrap around 3 times. So I'm not working into the first DC, it's the second one along. Complete your standing treble. Now we're going to chain 2. Now I can get rid of that. And treble into the next stitch. Now we're going to put a half treble into the next stitch, a DC into the next stitch, and now we're going to do a front post double treble around the next front post treble from round 2. So not this one underneath it, but the next one along. Okay. So as you can see, it stands all the way down here. Now we're going to put a DC into that corner space. And now wrap round twice again for a front post double treble around the one that we've missed. So from right to left as normal under that post, grab the yarn, pull to the front and complete your double treble. So now you can see those posts, those front post double trebles are crossed over to make that nice effect. So now we're missing that next stitch, the stitch that's next to the corner space, we're missing that one and working into the next one, and we're going to work a DC. In the next stitch we're going to work a half treble, and in the next stitch we're going to work a treble. And now we're back to where we started here with that first treble. So now we've got 2 chain to do. A treble into the next stitch, a half treble into the next stitch, a DC into the next stitch, and now we're starting with this cross front post trebles again. So yarn over twice, we're not working into the one below, working into the next front post treble from round 2. Don't forget to put that DC into the corner here. It's easy to forget that little DC. Yarn over twice and working back on yourself, going into that front post treble from round 2 that we've missed. There we go. So you've got your cross front post trebles there. And we're missing that next stitch that's next to the corner space. We're working a DC into the next stitch, half treble into the next stitch, and a treble into the next stitch. So continuing with your chain 2, you're working exactly the same. Do it twice to complete, so along to here and then to here. So you'll be ending with your half treble here to complete your round. As you can see, instead of the repeat being from corner to corner, it's starting halfway along and finishing halfway along. And what it's actually doing is it's changing where the corner was on round 3. It's changing to where the corner is now, which is in the middle of that round here. So that's really interesting. It's turning it all round. So if you finish that, finish another 2 repeats, and I'll see you here when you're done. So now that we've got to the end of round 4, we'll just do a stitch count. So in between each 2 chain space, we should have 9 stitches. So we should have a treble, half treble, DC, your 2 front post double trebles, and then that little DC in the middle that you put into that corner space, which you can see if you pull it forward there. Another DC, a half treble and a treble. So that's your 9. 2, 4, 6, 8, and then that one, your 9 there. Okay, so if you've got that along each, in between each of your 2 chain spaces, then we're ready to finish it off. So I've cut the yarn and drawn it up. And now we're going to insert the hook. Because you start, this is your standing treble, and then you started with 2 chains. So essentially you're going into that first chain that you made, which is just to the left of your standing treble. So it's a little bit fiddly. So I'm going to go into that bit and that bit. There we go. Grab the yarn and pull it through to the front if you can. There we go. And then that very last DC that you did, oh no, sorry, half treble that you did, we're going to enter the hook from back to front, just picking up the back of that stitch. There we go, grabbing it and pulling it through to the back, and that's your invisible join. So now we're ready to move on to round 5. And for round 5 we need our silver yarn.